Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, July 21st, 2016, calling to order the Board of Selectmen Town of Hingham meeting. First matter on the agenda is approval of the minutes dated June 1st, 2016. My only correction is in the Selectmen Town Administrator. It should be POLK, P-O-L-K, not P-O-P-E. I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Anybody? Let's get right to it then. Senior Chief Jermyn, would you join us at the table, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Town Administrator. Tonight I greet you not only as an employee, as your Director of Veteran Services, but also as an employee of the Navy Reserve. The Navy Employer Recognition Event. This is a civilian employers from across the United States that receive a unique opportunity to witness the capabilities of the Navy Reserve firsthand during the 2016 event called the NERE event, held in Norfolk, Virginia, June 24th. The NERE recognized employers who provided exceptional support for their reserve sailor employees. 37 companies from 13 different states, and including one town, were represented at this year's event. Town Administrator Ted Alexiades and I had the pleasure of being greeted by Vice Admiral Robin Braun, Chief of the U.S. Navy Reserves. And I thought it important that I quote her here before I make a formal presentation. And she said, I quote, "These employers have gone above and beyond to support their sailors. In many cases, they're also helping out families while the sailor is deployed. We appreciate the outstanding support that is being provided not only to the individual sailors and families, but to the Navy and to the nation." She continued by saying, "Our hope is that the employers gain a better understanding of what the U.S. Navy Reserve sailors are doing when they have to leave to support Navy missions around the globe. In many cases, their sailors are deploying and leaving their company, in this case the town, for a year at a time to mobilize. So today gives them a better picture of the capabilities the Navy brings to our nation and also the type of support our reserve sailors provide to the Navy." So without further ado, I'd like to make a formal presentation to the town through the Board of Selectmen. United States Navy Reserve, Outstanding Employer Support, Town of Hingham, Massachusetts, for recognition of your outstanding support to sailors who serve the United States Navy Reserve. By virtue of your actions, you have upheld the high ideal of service to one's country, furthered the cause of freedom, and ensured that the United States Navy Reserve is indeed ready now, anytime, anywhere. Given this 24th day of June, 2016, Robin R. Braun, Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy, Chief of all Navy Reserves, Commander of Naval Reserve Force. So again, I thank you for your continued support, not only for myself, but for the other sailors around the globe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. You see everything?
I want to put that on the thing.
Hey, Keith, before you go, I don't mean to interject. I just wanted to thank you. You know, we as a town may be getting this award, but everybody that's in this town that has to do with veteran services knows that you're one of the main reasons that we reached that pinnacle in many respects. So I just want to make sure I thanked you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I was talking to District Attorney Tim Cruz today, and it's his view that the commitment to the veterans is well known in the Plymouth County area, and it's a very impressive place to be. So, and I also couldn't help but, you know, in reading through the material, see that The Expeditionary Combat Command is almost, well, it's more than 50% reserve.
Correct.
That's considerable. That's a very impressive stat, so. Anyways, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go Navy.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Good night, Keith.
All right. School bus lease contract, John Ferris. Step up.
How are you, John?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me tonight. The school bus lease, the lease that you have before you is a 5-year lease for 22 school buses with the option to purchase those buses at the end of this lease at a price of $35,800 each. The total amount financed is $1,833,250. Back on March 28th of 2016, the school committee authorized me to pursue a lease to purchase in lieu of the existing lease that we had in place with First Student. This annual lease amount is $19.20 per year for the next 5 years. That amount of $237,019.20 includes a 5-year extended warranty on all the buses, and the warranty covers repairs that are beyond regular maintenance, such as oil changes, brakes, and tires. But, you know, any major issues that we may have in the next 5 years will be covered. There's a balloon payment at the end, which will be paid by DATCO once we return these buses. While we have an option of purchase, we really have no desire to purchase the buses. We're sitting now with buses that are 9 years old. They will be 10 this year. We've had significant service issues over the past couple of years. We started that bus with a 5-year lease, then we extended for another 3 to make it 8, and then as we went out to get new buses, we found the cost was very prohibitive because they were increasing by 25% a year from our existing base. So what we did was we extended those buses for a couple of years through another sort of 3-year lease with 1-year options. The finance rate of this lease is 2.35%, which is a pretty good finance rate, and the total interest that we'd pay over time is $139,446. And as I said, while the lease contains a purchase option, we don't really have any intention to purchase. If we were to purchase 5 years down the road, we may consider purchasing 2, because that would be our spare buses. We operate 20 buses. But, and I'll tell you about our existing lease in a second, but those 2 buses would be spare buses. We'll move them into the rotation so that we sort of equalize the mileages. But at the end of the lease, if it turns out that, you know, we have a couple of buses with really low mileage and they're really good condition, we could cherry pick those buses and say, we want to purchase those 2, and then they could be our spares, and when we renew, we'd renew for 20 leases. Always thinking about how to save money down the road as well, okay? The lease is through a company called DATCO. The finance agreement you have is through Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is doing the financing for DATCO. DATCO was established in 1924. They have over 2,000 employees. And in addition to bus sales, they also operate school bus fleets in Connecticut. So their intention, you know, one of the questions, when I tell you the numbers, this lease here is going to save approximately $170,000 a year for us over the next 5 years, or more than $750,000. Okay, and you know, so I was a little suspicious, and I said, "How do you do this?" Well, at the end of 5 years, they're going to take our buses back, and they're going to use them for their own fleet, because they have like 20 communities that they operate in Connecticut. So it would turn out to be very advantageous. Back in April 27th of 2015, town meeting did authorize the school department to enter into a 5-year lease. So that's where the original authorization comes from, to enter the lease. To describe the changes in our leasing program, we've had a lease with First Student for many, many years. This is 9 years, and it's been a full-service lease. This full-service lease essentially it's sort of like they still own the buses because they take care of the insurance, they take care of the maintenance, they take care of the registration, all the inspections. The way we have saving this money is we're moving off of that platform full service, and we're going to provide our own maintenance for these brand-new buses. And within our regular appropriation that we did during the budget process this year, we've calculated certain maintenance costs for oil changes, brake jobs, and tires, and some emergency repairs. Plus in addition, we have the extended warranty. So the projections that I've come out with, as I said, will save in excess of $170,000. That's one of the ways that we actually managed to balance the budget for 2016, a significant saving. And for the school department, for a change like this, the time is right now. I had a great help. Patrick Cunningham is the dispatch supervisor over there. Patrick's very familiar with the buses, very mechanically inclined, a great communicator with helping me get resources, so we know we have maintenance people to maintain the buses. We also talked with Situate, so we have a backup maintenance plan. To Situate operates their own buses. They actually lease from the same company that we leased from as well. And as I said, the 9-year-old buses we had this year, as we were going through the budget process, we had gone out to bid for another full-service lease, and the cost of that came up 25% greater than what was in our current budget, with some $595,000. And we were used to paying $465,000, $470,000. All said and done, when we finish this lease, we're going to save about $170,000 off of what we would have paid if we went out with new buses. Even through our existing, if we were to extend one more year, this is still going to save $60,000 or $70,000 from what we would have been in this year had we decided to renew the old buses for another year, which we had an option to do, but it just the buses just keep breaking down, and they're tired. So we purchased this through the NJPA, which is the National Joint Powers Alliance, and that is a cooperative bidding. It's based out of Minnesota. It bids for public agencies. We are a member. I checked that out with the IG's office, and I said, can we purchase off these government bidding consortiums? And they referred me to a bulletin from September 2013, number 9, and it basically said if the process is 30B-like, if the process promotes open competition, if it's very similar in all respects to our bidding process, then yes, you can in fact purchase off of that contract. And this here, I pulled all the pages. It's very similar to what we would do issuing an RFP here within, as I would do for issuing a bus for the leases. So I am a Mass Certified Public Procurement official, and to me it was very similar, and I think that it's a very good plan for the town, especially taking over the maintenance. I think the full service price, we weren't really getting that much. And we get brand new buses here, so the maintenance should be very minimal. We're talking 3 oil changes a year, 2 brake jobs during the 5-year term, and 1 set of tires because we have to return it with some tread on it. And there's money for emergency repair, but which we will need. I think that I have sufficient funds for this year, but experiences with new buses should be pretty good. So I think this is a great deal for the town, and why did I pick DATCO too, though, through this purchasing process? Well, DATCO has a service center in Norton, Mass. Okay, so, we had this extended warranty, so if there's a problem with the buses, it's just a matter of getting the bus to DATCO in Norton, Mass, and they can do all the repairs. So I think that this new plan is going to work out very, very well for the school department and the town overall. It's new. But I believe that we have the team in place, and we're ready to go for it. We have 19 new buses on the lot right now, sitting. We're in the process of giving some of the first student buses back. The lease expires with first student on August 1st. We need the timing of this to sort of work out because we got to get the certificate of origin to the insurance company so they can get insured, and we can get them registered. Then we have to get them inspected. We only need a couple of buses in August, so it's sort of beginning of August. We'd love to have these operational, but if we don't, we have plans with First Student to kind of extend for a couple of weeks, but, really time of the essence to get this financing in place so we can go forward and
So John is
get
here
the purchase
tonight in
completed.
front of you because you are required to make the financing decision. Essentially, what the school department has done, and they've gone through this whole procurement, is completely their jurisdiction. John shared with you a lot of the budget aspects of it, but that's really not your role and responsibility. The school department has gone from an operating lease to a capital lease, and that requires a financing instrument. Wells Fargo is it. You are the sole financiers or approvals for the town. He's here tonight to ask you to approve the financing aspect of it. All of the budget stuff and discussions, and you're certainly welcome to get into them with him, but that's all school committee purview, and they've made that decision and gone through that and taken those votes.
Questions from my colleagues?
I don't really have a question, but, and I know it may not have been on point, and I know we talked earlier in-house, Tom and Ted and I, about what it was about, but I really appreciate what you going through that explanation. As I felt before, I feel even better at the work that you've done and the department's done, and especially when we're saving that kind of money, we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
John, I just want to singularly thank you, because I think you were the person who came up with this idea at a time when we were all wringing our hands about the school budget. And I think this is an example of the kind of creativity of how do we find cost-effective ways to deliver necessary services. And I would point out to the public that as a result of John and his team's efforts, the school committee was able to find room for the reading adoption program. And so, what this bus lease is in effect doing is, it's not only giving us more reliable transportation for, 4,000 youngsters every day, but it's also freeing up money that we can put into other very important parts of our curriculum. And I know it is a team effort, but I do recall that the original idea of this came from you, so I just want to personally say thank you.
Thank you, and I'd love to take all the credit, but you got to get that, someone gives you that idea, somebody gives you, hey, I heard this, and it's a matter of investigating, and then your team takes over, so thank you, but it is a team.
And please
Without
pass
the
our
idea,
thanks.
I don't know where I would have been, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate it, thank you.
Comments from the public? I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to sign a lease agreement with Wells Fargo Equipment Finance, Inc. for the lease of 22 new 2017 ICCE school buses.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you,
in.
John.
Thank you very
Good
much,
night,
I
John.
appreciate it.
Very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. National Grid. Gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Dennis.
My name is Dennis Regan, and I'm the permit representative from National Grid. And tonight, National Grid hereby respectfully requests your consent to install and maintain approximately 800 feet, more or less, of 4-inch gas main in Main Street, Hingham. From the existing 3-inch gas main near house number 598 southerly to the existing 3-inch gas main at house 627, all of which to replace and abandon the existing 3-inch gas main in Main Street.
Questions from my colleagues?
Harry, is Main Street past the 5-year moratorium?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's the only question I had. Thank you.
When would you anticipate doing,
Okay, Tom, sir.
when would you anticipate doing this work?
Well, Harry will probably work something out for us, as he usually does. We're ready to go when he's ready to go.
We've been pushing the gas company rather hard to get some gas mains replaced on roads that run a construction schedule. And they have other towns to service as well as ours, so it probably would be till after September 1st, I would say, that they start to mobilize on this project.
What would you estimate the time it's going to take to do this?
Probably talking 10 days, if there's no issues.
My concern is during the rush hour, at least in the morning. I think 2 detail people is not enough for this, just looking at it.
Well, we discussed, I met the supervisor on site, and this is an area where the road has a couple of turning lanes we can take advantage of, keep traffic flowing, and would monitor the project. I mean, if it had to move off hours or something similar to that, they'd be very flexible. But it's going to be, the excavation going to take place in the gutter line of the road, preferably, and any spills will put in the shoulder of the road, so there'll be at least 2 lanes open at all times.
I've just experienced the last road job up there, and frankly, I wasn't all that happy. I'll phrase it as diplomatically as I possibly can, but there were backups going, you know, a mile in each direction, so I'd like to avoid that.
Yeah, everyone would like to avoid that. I mean, that was a little more difficult because of a project going on in South Pleasant Street. Cushing Street intersection was involved with that. It was a narrow piece of the road, so we don't anticipate any, you know, long traffic delays in this project. But we'll keep an eye on it, and have to make adjustments, we will.
Thank you very much. Anybody from the public will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of National Grid to install and maintain 800 feet of 4-inch gas main in Main Street. The gas main will originate near House 598 and continue under the gutter line of Main Street for the entire length to completion at House 627. This gas main will replace an existing 3-inch bare steel decayed main that is approximately 103 years old. This approval is subject to the stipulation of the Department of Public Works, including letter dated June 21, 2016.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next, Village Motors South. Good evening. Would you identify yourself and
I am David Rosenberg. I'm president of Prime Motor Group.
Welcome.
Thank you.
what are you looking to do here?
We are purchasing the assets of Village Volvo, and we would like to transfer the license from Village Volvo to Prime Volvo Cars of the South Shore.
And for the benefit of the audience, what is the business of Prime?
It's a Volvo dealership. We sell and service new and used Volvos.
Okay, so it's basically going to be the same thing, just
It's going to be the
different owner.
exact same thing, different owner.
Questions from my colleagues?
I'm assuming that all of the license materials have been reviewed and all's in order?
Correct.
Thank you.
Questions from the public? I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of a Class 1 license from Village Motors South, Inc., doing business as Volvo Village, Hingham, 425 Lincoln Street, to AMR Auto Holdings VH LLC, doing business as Prime Volvo Cars South Shore, David Rosenberg, manager.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Good
very
luck with
much.
your
Come to
business.
Good luck.
Look forward to doing business in the town.
Look forward to
Excellent.
having you. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Okay, next.
The next two are somewhat in conjunction.
Next two.
Yep.
Okay.
Which one do you want to start with?
Restaurant Common Victualler, Boathouse Bistro.
Hi there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You identify yourself for the record, please?
Good evening. Kevin Burke, standing in for Joseph Phelan on behalf of the applicant, Boathouse Bistro.
Steve McCauley, from Boathouse Bistro.
Okay. What are you looking to do here, gentlemen?
May it please the Board of Selectmen, what we're essentially looking to do is to swap two liquor licenses. Presently, Muse Paintbar has an all-alcohol beverage license, and Boathouse Bistro has a wine and malt license. We are seeking, through two transfers, to have at the end result, have Muse Paint Bar have a Section 12 general on-premises wine and malt license, and Boathouse Bistro would have a Section 12 restaurant all-alcoholic beverage license. Both entities have been operating at the present location for a while now, and Steve McCauley, who is the manager of Boathouse Bistro, lives in Weymouth, works, according to the application, he says he only works there 50 hours. I believe that's an understatement. I think he works a lot more than that. His wife, Tinka, who's here, also spends many hours working at Boathouse Bistro. They're well experienced, as you can see in the application, in the industry, and they've had a good experience over the past year at the location. And I'm happy to go into further detail if the board is so inclined, but essentially swap the licenses.
Questions from my colleagues?
I don't have any questions.
Two great businesses in the shipyard.
Questions from the public? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to transfer of a restaurant common victualler wine and malt beverage license from MCC 4LBD LLC DBA Boathouse Bistro, 19 Shipyard Drive, Stephen F. McCauley, manager, to Muse Paintbar LLC DBA Muse Paintbar, 15 Shipyard Drive, Stanley Finch, manager, subject to the approval of the Massachusetts ABC Control Commission.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of a restaurant common victualler all alcoholic license from Muse Paintbar LLC, doing business as Muse Paintbar, 15 Shipyard Drive, Stanley Finch, manager, to MCC 4LBD LLC, doing business as Boathouse Bistro, 19 Shipyard Drive, Stephen F. McCauley, manager, subject to the approval of the Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much for
Let that
coming in.
work out
Best
for
of
you.
luck to you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, Fresh Market.
Hey, Jeff.
Mr. Taccio, good evening.
I think the board probably want you to walk you through this page by page.
Be hurtful. Hi, everyone. Jeff Taccio. Interesting change of beneficial interest on the liquor license for the Fresh Market of Massachusetts LLC. This came to us upon a call from headquarters at Fresh Market that they were no longer going to be publicly traded, but that they were going to have all the shares that were out there at the New York Stock Exchange purchased by Apollo Management or a series of subsidiaries there too, and as part of all of that, they were in touch with counsel for each state in which they had Fresh Market stores to get all of their liquor licenses in compliance with the change in the ownership. The change that we have, and it's shown on a flow chart, which is in each of your packages, all occurs outside of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There are no changes in the ownership here in Massachusetts. Basically, Fresh Market Inc. is a Delaware corporation, and that, again, is going from publicly traded to now being owned, wholly owned by Pomegranate Holdings, Pomegranate Parent Holdings, et cetera, various family trusts, et cetera, all the way up to Apollo Global Management LLC, which is publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So what we've done, putting this together, it comes under the heading of Other on the applications for the ABCC. It's somewhat rare, but they do see these every once in a while. We work closely with Ralph Sacramone, who's the executive director, and he walked us through what they need in order to approve this at the ABCC level, which is why we put together the flow chart and then the explanation of all of the different relationships to these entities. We've disclosed all of the interests in each of the entities, their core sheets, and your package should be very complete. I think from your perspective, locally, the Fresh Market, I think, is operated with a really good track record as a Section 15 package store. It's been a successful market. I think people say nice things about it. And again, it's not one of those situations where there seem to be many issues whatsoever. It's a 20,000 square foot grocery, specialty grocer with higher end products, and you know, the section for the alcoholic beverages segregated on one side of the the premises, and then, of course, they've got all of the restrictions with respect to the gates when it's not hours for sale, and also all the checks at the the checkout, so that there are people who are of age to actually do the point of sale processing. With that, I'd ask if you could approve this, and then what happens is we've already filed the ABCC portion of the fees, and typically Sharon will pass this on to the ABCC, and then they'll act after you folks do.
I think if you recall, I told you a few months ago that Fresh Market as a group was sold for $1.4 billion, all their 236 stores, I think, in the country. This is really going to be replicating itself all over the country as they change ownership.
Questions from my colleagues?
Just one quick, it's a little bit of a side, and you may not know, we don't envision any change of service, right? It's the same?
None whatsoever. They like how they have their model. This is one of their newer stores, so this is more in line with the direction that they're going in. The 20,000 square foot footprint, some folks may remember, had to do with some of the restrictions in the Shipyard that had to do with Stop and Shop across the street way back when the Shipyard was being permitted, and it wound up being a nice niche size for that location. So they don't envision any changes whatsoever, and probably expansions elsewhere. I believe this is still their only location in Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Harry?
No questions.
Just a comment. Shipyard's kind of near and dear to me, and I regard this store as an anchor. And, you know, when I can't really pick up the phone and call the owner, I get a little queasy because decisions are made far away in places I don't know. But I hope that we're not looking at, you know, the beginning of an end game, because I think that a supermarket down there is going to bring some real value very shortly as the population increases down there. So I would urge you to convey that in some way.
Well, as the
appropriate.
as the director of the Fresh Market of Massachusetts LLC,
Okay.
I don't speak much to the folks in North Carolina.
I do recall it was a southern company.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, I speak with them for all of their corporate filings every year. I think that the Apollo, you know, we're all aware of just how the equity firms move. Obviously, I think that it's a vote of confidence in their model. They've talked of expansion, and of course, when money comes in, there's more money for expansion, for doing more things. I believe that Trader Joe's is doing really well. This, by all accounts, is, you know, done very, very well. And the Shipyard, as far as, it's all about critical mass. You know, it's the restaurants. Hopefully, we're going to see some movement on the south and middle residential components. That's now apparently in the pipeline. So with more people, more regular folks down there, the boats, I mean, I don't think that it's been more, more successful. It's just really fueling between that and Greenbush. We really, whether we realized it or not, back when things were controversial X number of years ago, the end game right now is that Hingham's really well situated to people who want to be able to live in a great town, be able to access the city. It's we're really blessed with a lot of amenities.
Very good. Okay. Take a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the request of the Fresh Market of Massachusetts, Inc., DBA The Fresh Market, for a change in beneficial interest, subject to the approval of the Massachusetts Alcohol Beverage Control Commission.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Jeff.
it. Thanks, Paul.
Good night.
Mary, thank you.
Okay, what's next?
I think the next items are
Department transfers.
transfers. You have 3 transfers here. I told our town accountant, Sue Nickerson, I would take them for her. These are all end-of-the-year transfers. As we closed out the books at the end of the year, we realized there were some shortfalls. The first one is the Veterans Services Office. There was an overlap that they hadn't calculated in the beginning of the year, anticipating Keith's return and the overlap with the interim Veteran Services Officer in the amount of $2,242. There was a charge in the police department relative to wages and officer equipment, rather. There was for an item that had to be purchased relative to an exercise. And then there was a small transfer of $96 in the treasurer's office, again for the same thing, calculation of payroll. I think in this case, the calculation made at the beginning of the year was for 4 days, not realizing that there would be 5 days at the end of the year, something, a timing difference at the end. Advisory has voted all these. As you know, the chair is authorized to vote up to $10,000. They had to do that by this July 15th, so that has been approved by them, but we would also like your concurrence.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to recommend an intra-department transfer from the Veterans Services Benefits account to the Veterans Services Salaries account in the amount of $2,242.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to recommend an intra-department transfer from the Police Department Salaries Wages account to the Police Department Expense Officer Equipment account in the amount of $1,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to recommend an intra-department transfer from the Treasurer's Expense account to the Treasurer's Salaries account in the amount of $96.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So now we're doing annual board and committee appointments.
All right, so we have it set up here in your agenda. You have the, I think you should have your vote list, which would include all the positions with the dates. There's a blank in there for whatever name you decide to put forth. You all have a sheet, legal size sheet with quite a bit of detail about all the committee members that you've interviewed, and recommendations for people who want to continue on next year while they have been on the, whether they can serve another year. So I think we've given you what you've been looking for on that.
Okay.
We also gave you a copy of a list of people that you interviewed, highlighting the ones the moderator has appointed to another committee.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is probably the major effort of the evening, not to minimize what we've done already, but this is where we go through and we appoint people to various town committees. And as has been said by, I think, all of us in one form or another, that we're lucky that we have such talented people who live in our town willing to step forward and serve in local government to make it the quality operation that it is. We had a series of meetings with the moderator over the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks, and we had some pretty good interest. People came in and we talked to them informally for 10 or 15 minutes. We've deliberated amongst ourselves in the sense that I reacted, I thought, and I've made some tentative decisions. I don't know what Mary Power thinks. I don't know what Paul Gannon thinks. I haven't really expressed that to anybody either, because I'm a little sensitive in light of what happened last year. So this is going to take a little while, but just bear with us, and hopefully we can do this smoothly. And we may not get them all filled tonight, but hopefully we can put a big chunk in the list, because committee business remains ongoing and necessary. So the sooner we get these positions filled, the sooner the committees charged with the various responsibilities they have can get underway and get on with the business of the town. Is there anything either one of you would like to add before we go forward?
No, I just maybe want to thank everybody that came out and volunteered, obviously. It is, in my opinion, very enjoyable to be able to see folks come in, such a talented group of people. And depending on where they are in life, by the way, it depends. They have very much of an interest in giving back to the town, and we're very lucky in many respects that we have such a large number of people that do it, and on the caliber of the talent. It's every year it's the same. It never ceases to amaze me, the talent we have. And I also want to thank Tom Mayo for his assistance. I know he's juggling a lot of balls, and he's a busy man, but he took the time. Me and Ted was with us today, and just trying to go through it and try to pierce through it and see where we were and how many folks we had to work with, and also the moderator, I would say. It's always a pleasure to work with him.
Anything you'd like to add, or are we ready?
No, I think we're ready.
Okay. Well, the first matter for consideration is the Affordable Housing Trust. And we have, I should back up a little bit. Typically, what happens here is that we appoint a person, and this was all stated to the citizens, the residents of this town that came in and met with us. Generally speaking, the appointment is for a 3-year term. And depending on circumstances, if all things are being equal, that appointment is, at the expiration of that initial appointment, there's an additional reappointment. That serves a couple of things. One, somebody sitting on a committee for a period of time develops expertise, some experience, and then they can start putting that to good and better use as they become more seasoned on the committee. So some of the folks that we'll be speaking about will have already been serving a term, so we'll be deciding perhaps whether to reappoint them or not. There are certain exceptions to that, as we've said in the past. Some particular boards have expertise which lends itself to someone sitting on there for a longer period of time. And if that is an issue, in the course of this discussion, we'll speak to that as well. But that's how this is going to go. So logically, we're starting alphabetically, and the first committee is the Affordable Housing Trust. And we have several individuals whose term expires this year, and 3 to be precise, and then we have 3 vacancies. So with that having been said, would either of my colleagues like to make a motion?
Yeah, and I would just add, as the Selectmen's liaison to the Affordable Housing Trust, I spoke with Tim White. I believe this information was conveyed to both of you a few weeks ago about the size of the Affordable Housing Trust, because it is it's one of those committees where you can have up to I believe it's 9.
Right.
And Tim's feeling was that he was that a committee of 6 plus a member of the Board of Selectmen would be fine. If we wanted to go to 7, I guess what he was sort of saying is we don't necessarily need to fill every single vacancy.
Okay.
So I just put that out there to make sure both of you are aware of it. I would make a motion that I might suggest procedurally, perhaps with these, we do the reappointments as one vote and then the open positions as another, just to keep track, if that's
fine with
okay.
that.
So I'd make a motion to reappoint Aileen Kalman, Anita Comerford, and Nancy Kerber to the Affordable Housing Trust.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. And based on the talent bank interviews that we had, I would make a motion to appoint Britton Dubose and Al Chambers to the Affordable Housing Trust, with Al filling the seat that expires in 2017, and Britton to fill a term that would end June 30th, 2018. Those were two individuals who both expressed an interest in that particular committee.
I'll second those nominations.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So just so we're clear, Mary, so there, as we stand now, there actually may be an additional seat or two?
There is-
Just one?
There is one left, and one thing that Tim White did ask, with respect to the Affordable Housing Trust, is that somebody with banking experience would really round it out. And Mr. Chambers brings some of that,
Sure.
which I think is very helpful. My suggestion is that we, what we may want to do is to, as these new members are seated, perhaps get some feedback from the Affordable Housing Trust. Are they interested in another member? Is there a particular skill they're looking for? But we do have that additional seat if needed.
Right. What I'm hoping to do is, once we get through even tonight, is look to see who else may have volunteered and maybe reach out to them, and just in case there's an interest in that committee. I didn't want to foreclose it completely, but I understand that it makes sense to.
And we have some names of people who've asked to be considered for committees, but you haven't interviewed yet. They've come in the last few days.
Sure.
And that'll be a continual process, as people are watching right now, and they might have an interest in serving, and they'll send a talent bank application in, and we will try to set that up in a group for you as soon as we can.
Sounds good.
Okay. Getting on to a committee that's near and dear to me, the ZBA, or also known as the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have five members who are willing to serve additional terms. I will say, ladies and gentlemen, having worked with the ZBA for over 20 years, this is a board that the expertise that is developed working on different special permits that it has to rule on and decide upon is significant. And there are occasions where a member will serve more than 2 terms. Their expertise is invaluable, and frankly, it really makes a difference to the quality of the decisions. And I think one of the best ways to measure the decisions is the rate in which they're overturned. And I can't really recall a decision in recent years that's been overturned, either on the planning board or the ZBA. So that's my 2 cents there in terms of my view. So do we have a motion?
Should we do it collectively? Because one is to the board and the other is associates, right?
We can.
Okay.
I'd like to, let's see.
You want to make a motion?
Just point out a typo to you before you go forward. In the first line item, it says vote to reappoint blank as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 1-year term.
Should be 3, right?
It's actually a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
So there's your first motion.
I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Joseph Fisher as a member of the ZBA for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You want to make a motion to reappoint Alan Kearney, James Blakely, Mario Romania, and Michael Mercurio as associate members of the Board of Appeals for a 1-year term ending June 30th, 2017.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Okay. Audit. We have one appointment. It's Josh Gregory. He's stepping down. Thank you for your service, Mr. Gregory. Very much so. He served 2 terms.
This is one of the committees where there's no choice about stepping down after the cycle, regardless of the expertise. The bylaw requires it.
We don't necessarily have to fill it if either one of you don't have someone in mind right away, but if you do, let's hear it.
I actually do not at this point. I had attempted to reach out to 1 or 2 people who had expressed an interest in other committees who had some experience that might be relevant, and I was unable to make contact. So I don't tonight. But if either of the two of you had a candidate to advance.
I don't, the one that I thought was a perfect fit, the moderator, I believe, already
I agree.
made a choice. So I'd be comfortable, subject to Paul's wishes, to waiting and, maybe just getting an idea if anybody else may want to step up.
Maybe a plea to the public for someone to step forward. It's a very important committee. They've got 5 members, 1 member missing. It really it hampers the other 4 to make quorums.
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, as a point of comedy, we defer to the moderator because the moderator makes some critically important appointments to different committees, most notably being the Advisory Committee, Personnel Board, Capital Outlay, and there's some joint appointments. And in this instance, the gentleman that the moderator, or an individual that we met with, impressed the moderator. So he exercised his option and appointed him. But clearly, I think we all thought that he would make an excellent selection. So welcome, Mr. Schickel. Okay, Bear Cove Park Committee. We have, we have,
You have 4 vacancies.
okay.
I'll make a motion to reappoint DeWitt DeLauder to the Bear Cove Park Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I will make a motion to appoint Tom Kenyon to the Bear Cove Park Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody else jumps to my mind right now, but if either one of you have somebody?
I had Tom, myself, and I just know in discussions, sometimes there was reluctance on some of them who had picked other committees to go over to Bear Cove. So I think we really need some people to step up, though. Clearly there's spaces if you want to volunteer. And I think collectively, I'm going to reach out to some of the people that may not make it on a committee tonight and see if they have an interest, because we do need people there.
Okay, why don't we move on then? So we have some additional openings on that committee. As some of you may recall, there was quite a spirited interest in the issue of unleashed leash dogs. That will be something that the Bear Cove Park Committee will be grappling with at some point in the future in a more substantive sense. So, it's not all about painting the barrels. There'll be some real meat on that bone. Beautification Committee. We have 4 very nice people who have indicated that they're willing to serve another term. I will point out that 2 of those 4 people have served for quite some time, but I have to say, some of the islands in town really, really are very well maintained, so I just smile when I see them. And hopefully the folks are being careful when they drive by while they're out there weeding them. Is there a motion?
I just, and I don't disagree with those folks. Was there anybody else that we were considering? No? Okay.
I think the committee size, I don't believe there's a limit to the size, so if additional citizens expressed an interest, I'm pretty sure we can.
Accommodate.
So I guess I'll make a motion to appoint Patricia Bray, Margaret Coleman, Rosemarie Durkin, and Laura Spaziani to the Beautification Commission for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Cable TV Advisory. Ladies and gentlemen, annually, Ms. Peavy comes in and briefs us. She's done a fine job. She's still on there, but the cable folks actually provide you with the meetings, televised meetings, such as this one. I'm all for the vitality of that undertaking, because I think it's really good for people to be able to see the meetings. Bless you. They can't attend them personally, so it's a big responsibility. We've got two gentlemen, and again, this is one that there's particularized expertise. So we tend to look at that in a special light.
So the main focus of this committee this cycle will be the renegotiation of the cable contract, and they've already begun that process. I think that might be one of the reasons to consider if the board is inclined to keep the existing membership intact as they're part of the bargaining team.
Following along Ms. Peavy's recommendations when she was in a while ago to see us, I actually have two motions on this committee. I would make a motion to reappoint Eric Connerly and David Jones to the Cable Advisory Committee, each for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And then Ms. Peavy did mention that because Mr. Connerly is beginning his 3rd term, and that the idea of someone with a financial background who would be able to participate on the Cable TV Committee alongside Mr. Connerly. Recall that in the bylaws that we just recently voted, there is room to expand this committee. So I would put forth as a recommendation that we appoint Christopher Barron to the Cable TV Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
I'll second. I remember him having an interest in the committee, so I'm glad you brought that
Okay.
up.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Community Preservation Commission, or Committee, excuse me. Let's see.
I'd make a motion to appoint Larry Lindner to the Community Preservation Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
I'll second that. That was the name that,
Good.
I remember him expressing interest in a number of things, but that was one I thought he was a good fit for.
I think Larry did a great job on the Ames Chapel. I think he'd make a wonderful addition to this committee. Welcome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Conservation Commission. We have 3 openings here.
We did receive a late application for this position. I think it came in today, actually, Tom, correct? We haven't filed the talent bank, or they haven't filed talent bank, and we'll put that on the schedule for you for future meetings.
Any particular people?
We have 2 that, in our interviews, I know we have 3 positions. We had 2 individuals, Paul Hall and Adrian Dubois, who both indicated an interest. I see nodding, so I guess I would advance a motion to appoint Paul Hall and Adrian Dubois to the Conservation Commission, each for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
So
Great.
do we want to wait on the other one?
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of the names floating, but some people wanted multiple committees, so maybe we get a better idea who
Yep.
wants it. Yeah.
I would also just, we should also keep in mind with respect to conservation that the Conservation Commission has an appointment to the Open Space Committee as well. So as we get applications in, to the extent that, that there isn't something that's suitable, we might want to refer an application to the Conservation Commission, because that's another important committee and related.
The next item, the next matter, is the Council on Aging. And this is a rather large committee. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 11 people on this committee, 3 of whom are stepping down. So, do either of my colleagues have a motion?
I had a gentleman named Peter Nevins, if they'd be interested in that.
Yep.
You want to make a motion?
Make a motion to appoint Peter Nevins to the Council on Aging for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And I'd make a motion to appoint Kristen Arute to the Council on Aging for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019. Ms. Arute sent an email after her interview to the board
Good.
indicating her preference.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that leaves one seat still. I don't at this point have another candidate for that third seat.
I don't either.
I don't either. We'll work on it. There's 10 people there. All right. And just as a, I think it would probably be good just not to appoint one person to 2 committees at this juncture. Only if we can avoid that. But that's just my own thought. Let's just try to get through this with,
Did we just do that?
no, we
Okay.
haven't done it. No, we haven't done it. No.
Just wasn't sure where that was coming from.
No.
I don't believe, Tom and I have gone through this, I don't believe you have that situation coming up right now.
Yeah, okay, it's just internal to me. I had somebody that I had for something else, but she just got appointed to something, so
Okay.
it's fine. Country Club Management Committee. This is these residents work very hard to keep the country club running smoothly. There is an opening. The gentleman who is presently serving, his term expires. He's interested in being reappointed. That's one of the things that we did do. We reached out to the chairs of these committees just to kind of get a sense as to what their thoughts were, to assist us just in making these kind of decisions, so that we had the big tent going on here. So with that in mind, do I have a motion from either one of my colleagues?
Make a motion to reappoint Scott Peterson to the Country Club Management Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Cultural Council. We have 2 appointments here. Trish Baggett and Jill Powell have both served 2 terms. They're stepping down. Thank you, ladies, very much. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Jane Shute to the Cultural Council for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome. Shoot. Anybody else?
Don't have a second candidate, and I would say that I remember last year that there is some certification that this group has to do at some point in the next couple months. And I remember last year their committee size was below the threshold. So in terms of another appointment to the Cultural Council, I think we just want to be mindful that they have some state filings and that we don't jeopardize their ability to do business if they have if they have a vacant seat.
Right, so we'll make an effort to get it filled.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. HDIC. This is the Hingham Development and Industrial Commission. It's a 5-year term. And these ladies and gentlemen, they're adjunctive, but they're also substantive. This committee, under the leadership of Susan Sullivan, introduced and got through town meeting the expedited permitting bylaw, which makes us more attractive for purposes of state grants in the Derby Street and the South Shore Park. So they look at opportunities, they examine issues throughout the entire town, not just South Hingham. We have 2 people, Eileen Richards and Annette Walsh, who have served ably. Thank you, ladies, both. They've both done 2 terms. So colleagues, do you have anybody? I have one.
I have two,
Okay.
so I bet we might want you to go first.
Ladies first. I'll defer.
All right. I'd make a motion to appoint Nancy Wiley.
There you go.
Is that
Okay, that's
And
it.
Brian Stack to the Development and Industrial Commission, each for a 5-year term ending June 30th, 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is the Energy Action Committee. We have 3 appointments here. We have 3 gentlemen who have all expressed an interest in serving an additional term. Colleagues want to add, or we just get right to it?
Sure. So I'll make a motion to reappoint Scott Sear, Brad Moyer, and Ben Kerman to the Energy Action Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. 4th of July seems well-filled, so why don't we just kind of leave that there. I want to thank the 4th of July Committee for a great parade this year, great parade. I really enjoyed the music. We had some constitutional issues we worked through, which were fine, and this is America, so. Getting to the GAR Hall trustees, we have 2 gentlemen well-known to the town, Scott McMillan, who serves as its chair. He served 2 terms. He's willing to serve another term. And Keith Jermyn, who's stepping down. He served 3 terms. So we have 1 spot anyhow that we can reappoint and then discuss the other spot.
So again, as the Veterans Liaison, I should kind of fill you in, and
Sure.
we may, I don't know if this will also start to broach kind of the Veterans Council, so we might want to talk about those together. I actually contacted Keith last week to say, hey, you're a GAR Hall trustee, is that a role that you would like to continue? And he said actually that that what he would prefer is to, in his capacity as the VSO, provide staff support to GAR Hall, similar to the way many department heads provide that support. So Keith is not looking to step away from this, but what he's saying is I'd like to, if there's someone who is interested in serving and able to serve, that Keith would prefer his role be more in a support role. I know that we have a number of people who have expressed an interest in the Veterans Council.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I was looking at these appointments and thinking about GAR Hall, I was sort of thinking about them together.
Okay.
And again, so that's kind of the way I was thinking about it. I don't know if we want to talk about those 2 groups together or separately, but I was thinking that one of the individuals who came in and expressed an interest in serving on the Veterans Council, that this might be an opportunity as well.
So should we maybe reappoint Scott and then discuss the veterans and then come back to that spot? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might be a good
All
idea.
right, fair enough. Let's do it that way then.
Make a motion to reappoint Scott McMillan to the trustees of Grand Army of the Republic Hall for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Harbor Development Committee. All right. We've got 2. Eric Catchell and Bill Reardon. Bill has served 1 term. I think he served ably, frankly. He's done a great job down there. Eric Catchell has served 5 years.
So under your rules, he would be eligible for another 3-year appointment. He served 2 partial terms.
full term and a partial term.
That's right, he served a 2 and then a 3. Okay.
But make sure I was correct. He is eligible for another 3-year under your rules.
Right.
So instead of, if he were to be reappointed, instead of serving 6 years, he'd do a total of 8.
Correct.
All right, colleagues, what do you think?
Well, I will say this, that, I don't know if it's the rules or our policy that we allow people to serve extra, and I'm always inclined to do that because I don't want to turn anybody away and be fair. So I'd be okay with it. I do know there's a number of people that want to be on that committee, so I'm a little hesitant because I want to get other people involved. But I think to be fair, I think everyone probably should be given that opportunity.
And I struggled with the same thing, and one suggestion I made to our office is that for individuals who expressed an interest in a particular committee where there wasn't an opening this year, I'd like us to send them a letter indicating that while there isn't an opening at this time, that we would keep their talent bank application on file. You never know what can happen during the year, but I think thanking and acknowledging someone's interest and letting them know that while an opportunity isn't available right now, one may come up in the future is appropriate. So.
Sounds perfectly appropriate.
So, did you make a motion, Paul?
I did not.
No, I did not.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Bill Reardon and Eric Catchell to the Harbor Development Committee for a 3-year period ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I would just say that, before we move on, the Harbor Development Committee is going to be very active. So I'm looking forward to the energy coming out of that committee in the coming years on the projects that are unfolding down at the harbor. That's an area of town that has acute interest, as you noted.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Herbert Foss Memorial Committee, that's well in hand under Peter Finney, and not much that we need to say there. Historic Districts Commission. This, in my experience, has been the hardest commission to fill, but the work that it does is formidable, and I thank them for their dedication. I attended a meeting recently in just as a resident capacity, and it was cableized. Thought it was very respectful and thoughtful. I thank the members that serve on it. They have all different kinds of expertise, as you can see from the chart here. We have a Historical Society representative, a very capable attorney, Planning Board designee, Virginia Tay. Hans Vanderluft, I think, does a great job as chair. So anyhow, that's where we are. We have Mr. Vanderluft. He served 1 term, and he's indicated his willingness to serve another term. So, you all right over there, Jerry? Tom, why don't you get us some water? Thanks. It's hot in here. I'm roasting in here. Thanks, Tom. It's really warm in here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not kidding you.
I put the AC on, it says it's 68, so.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Hans Vanderluft to the Historic Districts Commission for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to appoint Kate Finnerty as an alternate member to the Historic Districts Commission for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019. Ms. Finnerty expressed an interest again in an email.
Yes, I remember speaking to
Mary,
you.
for clarification, historic districts, alternate members, at large?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Ted. Yes.
So for the record, it's the at-large appointment. We have one appointment remaining to that, that is the alternative architect,
Yes.
alternate architect.
Okay, I'll second that.
All's in favor?
Aye.
And if anyone is an A1A architect, this is a position that's been vacant as an alternate member for over a year.
And we really would appreciate if you step forward, because it's a role that only an architect can fill. So ergo, it's very difficult to find somebody unless they're an architect. The Historical Commission has some openings, and the difference, it's only taken me a number of years to get this down right. The Historic Districts Commission, if your home is in the historic district and you want to do something that can be seen from the street to the outside of your home, or any hardscape in terms of landscaping, you have to go through that process. I've done it many times on my own home. The Historical Commission is a little different, because that's a commission that has jurisdiction over houses that are not within the different districts, but have historical significance. There's an inventory of homes. I think there's about 800 of them or so. I'm sure I'll get an email correcting me on that, but I think that that's what it is. They also speak to the demolition delay bylaw, which, if you want to take down a structure, there's a certain period of time that you have to wait. And the reason, the rationale for that, is, as I understand it, is so that you can work with the commission to see if there's an alternative that allows you to salvage at least a part of the historic structure. So we have one person who we appointed extremely recently, willing to serve another term, and then we have Mr. Curley, who served as chair but has since stepped off. So we have one potential reappointment and one new appointment. So with that in mind, do my colleagues have anybody they want to put up or move to reappoint?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Sarah Carolyn to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. We do have another spot?
Yes.
So Mr. Curley has been reappointed just for a few weeks to
Right.
clear a few matters. Did you want to vote that tonight, or should we wait until Mr. Curley?
You could vote it effective a date.
I'd like to get moving on it. I have somebody in mind.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Kevin Burke came in. Actually, he was in tonight in a different capacity, but he appeared for the talent bank, and he's very friendly, very capable. I think he'd be a good addition.
Sure.
I think,
Great.
he's a lawyer. That always, well, not always, but
I had him on my list as well, so.
okay. It's easy then.
Want to make the motion, Bill?
Sure, I'll make a motion to appoint Kevin Burke as a member of the Historical Commission for a 3-year term ending 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome, Mr. Burke. Okay, and we have,
You have an appointment next on the Library Board of Trustees?
okay. The individual that I was thinking of was grabbed by the moderator.
I have an appointment. We had a gentleman come in, Mr. Jeremy Parker, who expressed an interest in the Library Board of Trustees. Mr. Parker's relatively new to Hingham. I think he has 2 children under the age of 5. Said he spends a lot of time in the library. I think he would bring some great, he would bring a lot of different skills to the library, and is somebody new who's interested in volunteering.
We only have one, right?
Yeah.
Just one.
I remember him. Sure. So you've made a motion?
I'd make a motion to, just looking here, to appoint Jeremy Parker, a trustee of the Hingham Public Library, for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. We have Lincoln Apartments. We have a resignation, but we don't have it. We don't have an appointment there.
Okay.
I don't think. Right, Ted? Yeah.
I don't believe, I think your appointments have been filled with Dave Ellison and Greg Doble, so those are coming from the Affordable Housing
Okay.
Commission, and the moderators went.
Now we have the Memorial Bell Town Committee, which is an annual appointment. I will say selfishly that the bells ring on Tuesday evening, and I love hearing them. It's a delightful sound, and it's from the Old Ship Church Memorial Bell Tower that was recently refurbished with Community Preservation Act monies. So if you're around the square on Tuesday nights, you can enjoy it. So thank you to these people that devote themselves. I suspect these are the bell ringers.
Group.
Yeah, this is it. They're always looking for people, that's what I'm told, but I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Kenneth Drescher, Joan Ghetto, Martha Ryan, Ann Shilhan, Michael Shilhan, and Dorcas Wagner to a 1-year appointment ending in 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
The next appointment is the Open Space Acquisition Committee. You have a selectman appointment. You have a current member in there, Carolyn Nielsen. Her term expires in 16. She served 1 term, and she's willing to serve another.
Yep. Make a motion to appoint Carol Nielsen to the, reappoint her to the Open Space Acquisition Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The Personnel Board is a board that's,
You have no appointments there.
right, that's a moderator appointment, but I'd like to welcome Ms. Million to the Personnel Board. We had the pleasure of meeting her as part of this talent bank process, and I must say I was quite impressed. So thank you for stepping up and offering your services to the town of Hingham. Let's see.
The next appointment would be the Registrar of Voters. It starts on this page, but flips to the next one. You have 2 citizens who their terms expire, and they've both been interested in reappointment.
Okay. Good enough. I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Betty Tower and Virginia Gray to another, are they 1-year appointments, Ted, or?
I thought they were, but I'm not positive.
It
No.
says 3 on the
There's
vote
3 on the
sheet.
sheet.
Oh, okay. I'm just going by the list now. To a 3-year,
I think so. I think the confusion is the 15 on Ms. Gray, but I think they're both 3-year terms from here forward.
oh, okay. So that would be an expiration 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Scholarship Fund Committee.
You have 4 appointments to this. One gentleman indicated he has served 3 terms and is rolling off, and the other 2 indicated they would stay on. One has served 3 terms, and one has filled 1 unexpired term.
Well, let's do the reappointments if we can first, and then chat about the appointment if there is one.
Make a motion to reappoint Matthew McGonigal and Roger Nastow to the Scholarship Fund Committee, each for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a candidate? I had one, but he's been appointed to something else, so.
I do not at this point have any other candidates.
I'm just looking, I'm sorry.
So we still have, you still have 2 appointments to fill here
Okay.
for the public. An important committee helps the town treasurer manage the scholarship fund. And they've had quite a great success over the years with a rather good group of people.
I don't have anybody right now.
I don't either. Why don't we move on rather than struggle just to
Okay.
place somebody?
Just to make sure the public knows, this committee handles solely the investment, I believe, aspect of the scholarship committee. I'm not sure if they handle any distributions also, but I know they handle the investment side of it, and that's the meat of the work.
Okay. Let's see.
Traffic and safety is your next committee. You have an appointment that is open. Dan Zivkovich resigned and in 2016, and so his position is open. So it'll be a 1-year term expiring in 17.
I had the pleasure of serving on the Traffic and Safety Committee while I served on the Planning Board, and this is a great committee, honest to God, because you pop around all over town seeing where people are complaining about intersections and speeders and stop signs and sidewalk. Really gives you a good sense of some of the problems that the residents confront. The problem is I didn't think we had an opening, so I wasn't thinking about filling it.
I don't have a candidate at this point.
I don't either. I know I thought we were talking about it before, just people looking for somebody, but I don't have anybody.
Well, like the chair said, this is a very important committee, and if you're interested in traffic and intersections in the town and making it work better, then this is one for you.
Hopefully we'll find somebody when we double back and see who we may have missed.
Yeah, why don't we park that for now and circle back. Okay, Veterans Council. We have, let's see. We have Mr. Burbank, who has served 1 term and is willing to serve another term. Mr. Guild, he's stepping down. He served a single term. My good friend Bill Ramsey, he's stepping down. He served 2 terms. And David Sargent has expressed a willingness and interest to serve another term. As I understand it, he was the VFW commander, which gets a seat on the VFW, and Frank Curtis has assumed that role now. So
Correct.
Mr. Sargent has put himself into consideration for a seat on the Veterans Council.
And Mr. Asher has resigned,
That's
so he
right.
has an unexpired
Okay.
term. Maybe as a way to start, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Thomas Burbank to the Veterans Council for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dave Sargent to the Veterans Council for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I think you both got an email from Tom earlier today. Again, in my capacity in the Veterans Council, I met with Keith and John Asher kind of in May to talk about the appointment process, and one of the things that came up at that time was the idea of building a better community and greater linkage to the Linden Ponds veterans community. And at my request, Keith reached out to the Linden Ponds Veterans Association, not to make any commitments, but to gauge interest in whether a member of the Linden Ponds Veterans Association would be interested. And what Keith expressed to me was that so much of his role is reaching out to the different veterans in town to make sure that they are aware of the services that they are entitled to. And that's why we have the link with the VFW commander, with the American Legion, and so Linden Ponds is critical. So the candidate who, the individual whose name was emailed to us earlier today is actually a member of the Linden Ponds Veterans Association, and has expressed an interest as well in serving. So I would make a recommendation to appoint Hank Maud to the Veterans Council, and I'm going to suggest that we appoint him to the to fill the unexpired term held by Mr. Asher. Since, Paul, you appointed Mr. Sargent for a 3-year term, so I would recommend Mr. Maud to fill the unexpired term of, or the term expiring June 30th, 2018.
Okay. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So does that leave us one?
We have one more. I wish to advance Janine Suchecki. She interviewed with us on the talent bank. She's a Hingham resident, born and raised. She's a Navy veteran, and she expressed an interest in serving on the Veterans Council.
Yeah, I remember when she came in, and it was good because I think there was a void there in terms of the need, and she's very enthusiastic about it. So I had her on my list as well.
Perfect.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then to close that out, we had another gentleman came in who was very interested in some way participating in our effort towards the veterans.
Right.
And so what I would like to do is to advance, I would like to make a motion to appoint Frank Sheelan to the trustees of the Grand Army of the Republic Hall for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2019.
Sure, he was on my list for the veterans too, so either way, so that's great. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Frank Sheelan, S-H-E-E-L-A-N, I believe.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that went about as smooth as it could possibly go. And we reached a decision unanimously, in consensus, with each other. So that worked out pretty good. I'm very happy about that. So thank you to each of my colleagues for making that go smooth.
I'd like to give just a particular shout out to Sharon Perfetti, who's not here, who did yeoman's work in terms of keeping track of the paperwork, scheduling, coordination, all of the different updates.
A lot of chats.
I think we made some great steps to improve the process in this last year.
Sure.
I think it was great to have the information as we had it, and very grateful for all her work.
Yeah, Sharon, I know she was working on it up till this afternoon, so.
We still have some more appointments, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, but we put a good dent in the pile this evening.
So according to, I might be a little bit off, but on my scorecard, we still have openings in the following areas. We have an opening on the Audit Committee. We have 3 openings on the Bear Cove Park Committee. We have 1 opening on the Conservation Commission, 1 opening on the Council on Aging, 1 opening on the Cultural Council. We need an A1A alternate architect for the Historic District Commission. We have 2 vacancies on the Scholarship Committee, 1 vacancy on the Traffic Committee, and the Conservation Commission has an appointment to the Open Space Committee.
I think we have 1 on the affordable housing, depending on how that goes.
Correct, and that one as well. Thank you.
All right, so we still have a way to go, but we got a lot done tonight. We didn't go off the rails. That's a win. Okay. All right. I lost my agenda stuff.
I think we got it.
So now we're on. Oh, we still have some votes too.
You have a few votes left, and you have, next on your agenda is goals and objectives.
Okay.
So I've given you a copy of your goals from current fiscal year 16, rather, the previous fiscal year 16, along with status of where they are, complete or ongoing, mostly. And I can either walk you through that, or...
Yeah, why don't you, Ted? I'm looking for my...
I'm going to put this up here in case I don't have an overhead projector for tonight, but in case anybody, I don't know if the camera can catch that for home.
I lost my vote list.
You had several goals for fiscal 16. One of the primary goals was to ensure fiscal stability. Fiscal sustainability. I would certainly hope that you would desire to continue that in the future. But the initiatives that you took were to assess a 10-year financial outlook, capacity for operating budget increases, ability to finance large capital projects, monitor financial metrics, fund balance, debt, capital, quarterly department budget reviews, manage debt and long-term liabilities, promote long-term economic development, mitigate the residential tax burden, and identify and pursue opportunities to assist the neediest in our communities. And I could say that all of those are, I would say, completed, but ongoing, because they will never be complete. We will always do each one of these things on a regular and definitive basis. Shortly, in a few months, you'll hear the results of our financial operations for fiscal 16. I expect you'll hear exceedingly good news, as has been the case for the last several years. It seems the only fiscal challenge we have is managing the budget process each year, which I will tell you will always be a challenge. So I think that takes you through your first goal. Your second goal is to maximize asset utilization and ensure facilities are suitable. The initiatives throughout the year were to implement harbor area warrant articles approved by town meeting. We've completed some are ongoing. You know the ones that we've talked about. If you go down to the harbor, obviously you've seen certain parts of that that are done. We've been asked to assess and prioritize town facility needs, harbor, library, town hall, fire, school. I think last year's town forum started to unveil some of that to the public of what we've been doing internally. Schools have been doing their stuff with their buildings. They are going to give us some reports of our buildings as we've been managing them too. We are developing options to meet those needs and determining the cost of financing options for those type of projects. We are also ongoing with the design and desire to obtain cost estimates for North Fire Station. We are ongoing in the completion of the Barnes Wharf lease. We have completed the Whitney Wharf Bridge. And I know that many of you are out there looking at it at its opening. And of course, we're advancing affordable housing opportunities on town-owned lands. We will open up the bids on 2 Beale Street on Monday. They are due back tomorrow. Tom will not be in the office tomorrow, so we will wait, since he's done a lot of work on that, until he's on Monday, so we can open it together.
Nice, good.
Not a lot's going to happen on Friday afternoon.
Survive the weekend. We'll see.
We already have one bid in, and we expect to see quite a few others coming in tomorrow. They usually do come in at the last moment. Goal 3 was to deliver services efficiently and effectively. The initiatives are listed here, are continuing Aquarian litigation, which is ongoing, pursue state and federal grant funding opportunities. I would say that's complete and ongoing and eternally ongoing. Identify and assess cost-saving opportunities. I mean, I'd like to keep that going. If you guys want to stop this year, we could, pause. But I think those will, again, be ongoing. Affordable housing will be ongoing, along with a housing production plan that the zoning administrator is working on. Obviously, we've been spending a lot of time on affordable housing, as the board is well aware, with many meetings on that. Renew the sewer consolidation agreement. We could put a complete there. We have renewed that agreement. We've received the report from the Plymouth County Study Committee, and we've explored opportunities to further codify the town administrator responsibilities. And You have evaluated structures for possible, committee structures for possible efficiencies. I think you'll have more opportunities for that, so that'll be ongoing in the coming year. The fourth goal, last of your goals this year, were to promote general welfare and stewardship. And the initiatives were to develop a town-wide leashing bylaw for possible town meeting consideration, ongoing, assess traffic and parking in Hingham Square, ongoing, promote environmental sustainability, ongoing, aquifer and water supply, energy and recycling, leverage website and social media communications. I think the launching of the new website, I would put a /complete, but you're never going to be complete with the leveraging of those resources. Continue to advance, as a quick aside, for those of you on the board who noticed that when you come here, your cell phones don't work in your office, you'll notice that starting today, thanks to the effort of Tom and Steve, your cell phones will work in the office. The repeater has been installed, so there is cell phone reception on this side of the building. It was an anomaly here. It was hard to get contact in the building. So.
It's good. It's good.
So there's some leverage. Continue to advance Hingham Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, and that committee has been and group has been working diligently. I think that's partially complete, but also ongoing, and unfortunately, I think will be ongoing for a very, very long time. Reestablish Town Forum. We listed that as complete, so I guess from the stance of we did reestablish it, I suspect that the board would be interested in keeping that going forward. Board adopted a Selectmen Code of Conduct and conducted ethical and conflict of interest training for all employees and volunteers. We'll be going through that again this year. We do that every year. And so this is just a little look-see as to where you are regarding what you did last year. As you can see, many of your goals are going to go forward in the next year. And I just ask you to consider that when you propose new goals for next year. There is a finite amount of things we can do.
I was pretty happy with our efforts from last year. I thought we did pretty well in meeting the old adage of not biting off more than you can chew has real meaning in this world. Why don't we do this? Why don't we think about what's proposed?
Sure.
In the next meeting?
So you have a meeting scheduled for August 4th. Unfortunately, due to all your schedules, that is going to be your last meeting in the month of August. So, and that's going to be a very short meeting for you because that'll be, most of that meeting will be an executive session with the Advisory Committee, Personnel Board, School Committee to strategize over upcoming bargaining with all our labor unions. That meeting is scheduled to start at 7:30. We have you slated at 7. We have a half an hour of time period. You have some business to do. We've tried to keep it as minimal as possible so that emergency things come in front of you. You'll have to take care of those. I'm not sure if that would be the appropriate time to spend to do your goals. It seems like you do spend a little bit more on that. That puts you on September 1st as your next meeting, as we see it. We haven't checked each of your schedules, but we're trying to go forward. I don't know what we'll be asking you shortly, and not now here, but next week or so, Tom will be communicating with you as to what your schedule is around the Labor Day weekend and the back-to-school period, and right through the fall, so we can plan budgets.
We'll ruminate a bit. I like what I see, though. All right. Thank you, Ted. Let's move on. We have 3 more votes. Then we have...
The first one is $129,020.22 contract with O'Brien and Sons, M.E. O'Brien and Sons of Medfield, Mass. to install playground equipment at Crest Field. This is a contract that was bid by the Recreation Department and meets all the appropriate qualifications and is in front of you because I do not have the authority past $50,000. I would recommend it, and it's appropriate.
Questions from my colleagues?
Make a motion to sign a contract with M.E. O'Brien's and Son, Inc. for landscape structures playground equipment to be installed at Chris Field Playground on Upper Gardner Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Your next item is to approve a one-day wine and malt license to Matthew Wapples for the Capella Family Fundraiser at the Glastonbury Abbey on September 24th. Paperwork is in front of you, and it is in order.
Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt license to Matthew Wapples for the Capella Family Fundraiser at Glastonbury Abbey on September 24th, 2016, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And your last vote of the night on your agenda is the award of the Bear Cove Fire Museum roof to WPI Construction. This is a bid that was put out by Roger Fernandez on behalf of CPC. And it is in order.
I'll entertain a motion to sign the contract with WPI Construction, Inc. in the amount of $71,000 to complete the roof replacement of the Fire Museum Building Number 52 located in Bear Cove Park.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Coming to the end of our meeting. Be able to get home to see Mr. Trump speak. Tom, is there anything you'd like to add?
Just to reiterate what Mary said about the work Sharon did, that was yeoman's work, to say the least, on that appointments list.
Ted?
I got a few things for you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I'll pass it on to you to read. It's a letter from the police chief. I think it's appropriate for the board, recognizing the work of A.W. Perry in providing resources to the police department for a very important issue.
All right, well, thank you very much. This letter is being written to William Constable, fondly known as Buzz. He is the man at A.W. Perry up in South Hingham. Dear Sir, it is with sincere gratitude I write this letter. The Hingham Police Department and its entirety would like to thank A.W. Perry for their support in our training efforts. Active shooter training has become especially influential in the society we live in today. Without the use of 90 Industrial Park Road and its convenience, we would be sending multiple officers a day to training. Not only is this costly but inconvenient to the officers and our department as a whole for manpower. We are grateful for the support you have for law enforcement agencies, and we appreciate you giving Metro SWAT the opportunity to use your facility for training as well. Hingham's community is fortunate to have a company such as yours with extensive generosity. Again, we thank you for the use of your facility and the support to law enforcement. Being on the parade committee for a number of years, I would also like to extend a sincere thank you for the generous donations your company has made over the years. Your company has been a primary sponsor to the event, allowing for the parade to be a tremendous success. Sincerely, Glenn A. Olson, Chief of Police. Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate you recognizing
Mr. Chairman.
A.W. Perry.
I'd also like to update the board. I asked Roger Fernandez, and I'll be doing this at each of our meetings throughout the summer since it has such an interest in the community. We have completed 14 roads for 2016 of the road construction schedule. Colonial Road, Cushing Avenue, Howe Street, Jarvis Avenue, Malcolm Street, Mann Street, Marion Street, Merrill Street, Parker Drive, Pilgrim Road, Puritan Road, Standish Street, Summer Street, and Whitten Avenue. We have pending 16 roads that we are working forward to and expect to complete this cycle. Bel Air Drive, Bel Air Road, Gristmill Lane, Howland Lane, Manatee Road, Page Street, Park Circle, U.S. Bates Road, Volusia Road, Willacca Road, Westview Circle, Whitcomb Ave, Wickham Lane, Whitten Ave, Woodlock Road, and South Pleasant, probable pending a water main replacement that we're waiting for. So I'll keep you up to date as we move on that.
Ted, on that point, I know there was some interest in that Whitcomb Ave repair, and I had the good fortune of bumping into Harry, I believe it was over the weekend, shopping, And he assured me that within the next couple of weeks, Whitcomb would be online, so to speak. And I think there was one of the concerns was the gas company had been had the potential of going on strike, but they at least
Actually, they did go on strike.
Okay.
And thankfully, the strike was settled, so we were a little backed up because they're backed up.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not, I didn't mention any of them in here because what the highway department is telling me is that the gas company won't stop us from finishing what we need to finish.
No, which is great. And I don't know, my understanding was they extended their contract and it was going to run out within days. So I don't know if they were on strike, but it's really, it's irrelevant. But the good news is that the folks down there would come, and Mr. Bldg and everyone, we're going to be getting to you soon. And that's something we said we'd get back to everybody on.
And lastly, Senator Patrick O'Connor has submitted a bill, I think it is Senate Bill S 2423 that has gone through the Senate. It is the House, where $250,000 was earmarked for the Route 3A design to help us with the existing engineering money that we have. We have spoken to Garrett Bradley's office, and they've indicated that they'll work diligently on that too for us. And I don't want to put anyone in a spot, so I'll just leave it at that.
Always appreciate assistance from the state.
Well, as you know, we've had a long legacy of great legislative support, and so it looks like it's continuing.
Okay, good. Mary, is there anything you'd like to add?
I just want to update the public. In the last 3 weeks, we've had 3 water main breaks. And the information that we received from Aquarian, on July 15th, a leak at 65 Industrial Park Road was detected. There was a shutdown from 7 p.m. to midnight of the service, which included 8 fire hydrants. That repair was made in the evening so as to provide minimal disruption to the businesses. On July 18th, a leak was detected on Beale Street. The estimated repair was 4 to 6 hours. On this one, there was no service interruption because I believe there was a second main there, so there was no disruption. On July 19th, there was a break on Bel Air Road. Contrary to what was reported on Facebook, this was not the result of a town contractor. There were a number of homes that were affected. The estimated repair time was about 4 to 6 hours. As a precaution, once the repair was made, a hydrant in that area was flushed to try to minimize the potential for discolored water that we have seen in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Just briefly, yes, sir. And I was going to mention it in the beginning, obviously, but I think it's appropriate anytime. Chief is here, and you know, I just, on behalf of the people in the town of Hingham, we want to thank the police department for the work they do day in and day out. And I say that not only because it's worthy of noting that anytime we're here, but also in light of what's happened in the last few weeks to month in Dallas and Baton Rouge, and I just think that I would urge people to be as supportive as they can to their local police departments and keeping their thoughts and prayers, the families of those folks that and the police officers and their families down in Dallas and Baton Rouge. And unfortunately, it goes beyond those communities, but they need us more than ever, the police departments, and in any way we can show our support, I know it'll be appreciated.
I would join in that expression of concern. I think the murder of a police officer anywhere in this country is a cause for grave concern, and the outpouring of support in the community for our police department is indeed that's an affirmance of the professionalism of the department that serves our town. The men and women that wear the uniform of the Hingham Police Department are professionals, and when there's trouble, they don't run from it, they go to it. And it's an extremely demanding job, even on its best of days. Unfortunately, the reality is you see the underside of the community, but the manner in which they conduct their business and themselves publicly is to be commended. They're professionals. I've I'm very, very uneasy about the climate in the country. You know, all it takes is one bad car stop, and, you know, we're on the front page of the New York Times. So, you know, we're alert to that as a community, as a department. The chief is on top of that. He distributed a letter from the President of the United States to all the troops at roll call through his OICs, and is alert to the kind of pressures that this kind of environment would bring. My suggestion to the community is that if you get the opportunity to express your appreciation for the police department that protects you, take it. It's a very hard job, and right now it's extremely difficult. The kind of things that are happening out there can happen anywhere. Most of us pack our lunch to work. We don't pack a 9mm. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and good night.
So moved.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.